Hello, spooky friends, and welcome to another episode of Storytime with the Scariest Podcast.
Woo!
I'm Robin Grayson, this is Adam Diaz, and today we are going to be reading you guys some homegrown horrors. Adam, tell us what those are.
Homegrown horrors are stories. Robin, where can we find them?
What?
I'm kidding. I'll do the whole thing. I just want to
Okay, I
stress
was
her out.
going to say, like, what?
Homegrown horrors are stories that you wonderful listeners / viewers have sent in. They're either paranormal, spooky, creepy, sometimes cultural stuff that we haven't heard before about cryptids that exist in your neck of the woods, because we do get emails from all over the world, which is amazing. And it is also true crime sometimes, which are also really, really exciting, although terrifying. So if you have a story like that, you, your friend, your family member that you would like to send in, where can they send them to?
So you can send them to storytime@scarish.com. That's our email address, just so you know. We also have social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, things like that. We just got a story on Facebook today, so it works. And yeah, so just send it to us wherever you can. You can go to our website, scarish.com. There's a contact us page that way. If you like filling out a form and having it sent in that way, that's cool too.
Yep, there's a bunch of different ways, however you are most comfortable, and please let us know whether or not we can read them on the show. We typically err on the side of caution if you don't let us know. We're like, they might want to keep this private, so we'll engage in some discussion to see if that's the case, and if we don't get a response, then they tend to go into a folder that's just like lost homegrown horrors. So keep that in mind, but we appreciate everyone who sends in their stories. We have 4 tonight, as per usual. So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Why don't you go first, because my first one's going to be super short. So
okay.
Yeah.
You have a short and a long. You have the longest one, and then I have a short to medium and then a medium to long. So I can do that. Let me make sure I'm on the right email before I get going. Okie dokie, Dr. Jones, here are the potatoes. We're going to go ahead and start. So this first email subject is Spiritual Dream with Dead Great Grandma.
Okay.
Sounds pretty intense to start. It starts out like this. Yo, dogs.
Yo, dogs.
What up? It was kind of funny. I know we're only 2 words into this, but I was thinking about the fact that
God, okay.
I really started to kind of like hate the catchphrases I had built for myself on the show, because it felt too much like branding and too much like merchandising. And then people started asking, like, how come you don't say that anymore? And I was
Really?
like, yeah, some people had said that in the channels or in the Discord specifically. And I was like, well, I kind of felt like pandering, but I was like, well, I didn't do it out of branding. I just did it for funsies. And realistically, I did it to annoy Robin, which is why I kept doing it for so long. So I'm bringing them all back. Fuck it. So, yo, dogs.
Yo.
I'd like to start this off by saying, Adam, Zaboomafoo is real. So we're going to read an email from a person in denial. Okay. Or by a person in denial, it's hard to tell. Secondly, I am a relatively new listener on, you guessed it, Spotify. Shout out to Spotify. Thirdly, please read this on the podcast. It would be an honor to hear this story in like 3 months or whatever the lag is right now. So here you go.
What are we at? Is it a month now?
It's
or
about
is
a
it
month
like...
and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're about a month and a half behind. We hit a lull where we barely got any. And then we hit a spike, and I think that spike happened when coronavirus happened, because people were just sort of reaching out because they finally had some free time on their hands. So let's not let that wane. Keep sending in your stories. All right. Anyways, this story is about an experience I had when my great-grandma died. So my great-grandma died when I was around 6 or 7 years old. My dad woke me up and just said that she died in her sleep.
Aww.
I didn't have the best relationship with her, so I was not that sad about her death. I can't imagine it was a terrible relationship, because you were 6 or 7. I imagine they were just like disconnected, you know?
Yeah.
They didn't have like that form of like bond or whatever. So unless like you guys had this huge falling out when you were 4, like it's really hard to tell from this email because you're very young when this happens. So let's hope that's not the case. All right. Not that sad about her death. She loved me and always kissed me on the cheeks. Aw, that's super sweet. I fell back asleep, for I was, in parentheses, and still am, a lazy, uncaring baby. But I had a dream. This did happen quite a few years ago, and my memory is likely fuzzy, but the dream went as follows. My great-grandma, sitting in a wheelchair as I saw her last, looked at me, smiled, and waved. She then stood up from her wheelchair and somehow became younger with pretty long black hair, very different from her previously short white hair.
Okay.
She was smiling at me as she rose serenely into the air and turned into shiny golden dust. Then I woke up from the dream and it was morning.
It's picturesque.
Yeah, it is. I didn't really think anything of the dream at the time, but now, well, I still don't know. However, it could have been great-grandma trying to tell me that she went to heaven, in parentheses, which I never believed in, or reincarnated, in parentheses, which she never believed in. But wherever she went, I think she's happy there. Thank you all for reading this. I love Scarish and all of its silly side tangents. Bye.
Thank you so much for sending that. I know everybody believes in different things,
right.
and you could just, I don't know, what is the word I'm trying to think of? You can just...
Moist.
No, that's not the word. But it could just be whatever you personally want to believe that it is.
Right.
You know? And it's just... To me, it's just she's telling you, like, I've moved on, you know? And you don't have to put a name to it, like, it's reincarnation, it's heaven, it's whatever.
Whatever
it's just,
it is.
She's just moved on.
In such a peaceful way,
yeah,
too.
she wants to let you know she's peacefully moved on.
Right.
And for you not to be... I think it's... The way she did it, it's... You shouldn't be sad, you know?
And I think it was kind of show-offy, too. Like, also...
Look at my magical powers.
I want you to see how hot I used to be. Damn! And then she's scattered into golden dust, which is pretty freaking awesome. So thank you one more time for sending that in.
All right. So the first email that I'm going to read tonight is titled, My Scary Past Life Dream.
Interesting.
Hi, my name's Laura. I have a scary or more like confusing story from my dreams. So a few years ago when I was around 4 to 8, I always had dreams of me in the exact same house with all my family and other people that I didn't or don't know. Someone posted in the Facebook group today that was saying, it was like a meme or something where obviously there's no medical anything to back it up, but it's like your brain can't make up faces and people, and so the people that you see that you don't know are ghosts that are watching you while you sleep. And I was like, that's creepy. But
I don't know if I subscribe to that thought. I'm gonna have to
like
investigate whether or not there's any science behind that.
It's like one of those 2-sentence horror stories, you know, where it's
right.
just like, it's not real, but it's creepy.
Interesting. Very interesting.
But my brain does make up people that I have no idea who they are.
Me too.
It's probably someone you've walked by on the street or seen just a glimpse of while driving or something like that. And your brain just registers it because your brain banks everything.
I used to have a dream constantly that I was like killing someone. It was so weird. And it was the same chick over and over, and then one day she walked into GameStop and blew me off.
You!
Ow! She hit me! Someone call the police!
Oh my gosh.
That hurt! You hit me right on my fucking shoulder. I was gonna call it an elbow.
I'm gonna bump it into the funny bone.
Please don't do that.
Have you ever done that?
Yeah, I've
It's
hit my
the
funny
worst.
bone before.
It's the
Is there
worst.
anyone alive who has not hit their funny bone? Because you're the luckiest person on the planet.
All right, continuing on. It was a massive house next to a river with dirt around it, and I shared a small bedroom with my brother. We had small beds and old closets. Mind you, the house was an old mansion. Fancy.
Nice.
The carpet was brown with light brown spots, almost like the Louis Vuitton logos. Nice. It had long red velvet curtains. This house sounds fancy as fuck.
It does. It sounds like Casper the Friendly Ghost's house. Except there's a lot of greens in there, if I remember correctly.
And long staircases. Anyways, I always would see that house in my dreams, and there was always a man standing there. He was the same man I saw every dream. His face was round, and he had a brown mustache and brown hair. It's Adam.
My hair is not brown. This is all black. And there's some grays. There's no brown.
He was always there, whether he was a cleaner, a knight, or in a painting, but I don't know. I have heard many stories of people dreaming of their past life, which is kind of scary. So do you think he might have been in my past life? By the way, I'm listening to your podcast while writing this. I don't know if it necessarily means past life, because I know a lot of people do have, like...
recurring characters in the dreams.
Right, but premonitions, too.
That's true.
It could be someone you'll meet in the future, or something like that.
Could be a ghost haunting you, like Robin said earlier.
Sometimes, like for me, I have deja vu dreams. So I have dreams, and then months or years down the road, it'll be happening to me. And I'm like, I have dreamt this way, way back in the past, because there was multiple times where I've been at work at my new job. Not new. Well, I don't work there anymore right now because I'm furloughed. But I'd be sitting in my cube and everyone's sitting in there, like we're all chit-chatting. I'm like, holy crap, I've dreamed this exact situation. Like you were sitting there. You were sitting there. Like it was just so strange.
Did you dream about it before you knew those people?
Yes. So it's so weird because you're like, oh my God, how does this happen? It's
skepticism just, activated.
Whatever.
That would make them the men of your dreams.
Yeah.
Wow.
No,
it's fucked up.
It's like
podcast canceled.
It's like my friends Amy and stuff like that. But But yeah, so sometimes you never know. It might not be a past life thing. It might just be, what I have heard a lot of people bringing up is the idea that the universe exploded at one point, like the Big Bang.
Yeah, a lot of people
and then
brought
it comes
that up.
together and it's just this all the time coming together and like happening over and over.
It expands, then it collapses, and then we repeat stuff, and that's the feeling of deja vu or past life syndrome.
Right.
I've heard that before too. Here's the thing, though. I think I would lean away from the past lives thing, because I feel like when you dream of past lives, it's typically like first person, and you're doing something else, then you'll catch your reflection in a mirror or something like that, or like a pond, and you'll realize that's not me, and you'll dream about stuff you've done rather than just seeing a person or a character in your dream. I call them characters because they're not
That's what I do with fantasy
real.
Football.
Yeah, she calls fantasy football players, which are actual human being football players, characters. I'm like, that's a fucking person.
Sometimes I'm just like, damn it, this character's injured this week.
I don't understand why she's so much better than me. Except this year because I fucking won. Just saying. 2-time champion. All right, I'm going to get myself that trophy one of these days. But yeah, I think
two times in a row?
No, not in a row.
Oh, okay.
But 2-time. First 2-time champion in the League of Thrones, which we named it that before Game of Thrones ended. Anyways, I'm guessing it has something to do with family member or something along those lines rather than past life. But that's my speculation, so thank you for sending that in. So before we move into our next story, we are going to take a really quick commercial break. And we're back. Okay, so I'm going to move into my next story of the show, and this one's subject is, please read this on the pod. Hey, we will. Starts out like this. Hello, Adam and Robin.
Hello.
Hello. What'd you say?
Hello.
They said, hi, Mom. I was like, hi, is this your mom? It's currently 3:30 a.m. and I cannot sleep because I've literally been binge listening to all your old episodes, and every sound coming from the house is making me question my sanity. So I'm trying to distract myself by talking to you guys.
I hear scratching sometimes, and I think there's something living in the walls, but it's probably just our Shiba under the bed. But
it's almost certainly the Shiba under the bed.
Freaks me out.
It goes on to say, these stories are going to be long, so get yourself a tea. In the past, I've talked about my prophetic dreams and dreaming about dying, to which Adam said to write back if I'm still alive. Today, I want to share a few of my creepy stories from my childhood that I've remembered.
And the fact that they're still alive.
It's nice that you're still alive. I would also like to point out, anyone who's ever said, I have another story I want to send your way, I am now officially worried that you're not alive if you haven't sent them in. So, send them in right now and just let us know you're okay.
Okay.
This email goes on. Story 1. So when I was around 9 to 10, I remember having really weird dreams that I physically cannot explain, because if I did, it wouldn't make sense at all. Actually, I know you guys would want to hear it anyway, so I'll try. It went like this. I was a tooth, and we were in some kind of machine that kept moving around.
It was a mouth.
And every time I had this dream, I would wake my mom up and throw up in the toilet. Until now, I thought the throwing up was part of the dream, but I asked my mom if I ever woke her up for, quote, throw up time, or frow up time? I think it might just be written incorrectly. Throw up time.
It's like, say you're a little kid and you're like, did I ever wake you up for
throw up time? Got you. And she said, I did that very often. It was really weird because I always had that same weird-ass dream, and I couldn't tell between reality and dreams. That is really weird. Maybe you were sick, and like it was a fever dream that you had recurrently. Maybe. I used to have a fever dream where like I felt like there was something on the back of my tongue. Like there was an object on my tongue. Like imagine like a little tiny cylinder. You know, like something you'd put as a weight. Like, have you ever seen those cylinders that are weights that they use, like, on scales? And they're tiny and they measure them in, like, grams and kilograms?
Yeah, we use them at school.
Like, super small. But imagine one on the back of your tongue. Like, right where you feel like you need to swallow. Or if you're, like, brushing your teeth, it would trigger your gag reflex. That was my fever dream for the longest time. And I'd wake up and I feel like I would still feel it on the back of my throat. And every time I would throw up. I was also always sick. So that's, like, what always used to happen to me. So I kind of identify with that. Story 2. We were out of town visiting some family, and they had a Hindu funeral place behind my family's house, and they specifically asked me and my brother to stay away from it. So my brother and I were hanging out at the forbidden place, and nothing creepy happens. So we come back home and go to bed that night. When I wake up the next morning, everyone in the house hates me. They want to know why we went to the place, and I'm confused because my brother ain't a snitch. Turns out, in the middle of that night, I sleepwalked to open the door and leave, but my grandma woke up and stopped me. She said, it's so crazy because I just covered sleepwalking again. She said, I kept trying to leave the house and everyone was awake and reading the Bible and my mom was freaking out. They instantly knew what the frick we did, and I was held until I fell asleep. I've never sleptwalked in my entire life before or after that, and I cannot recall any of that. It still scares me to this day. What if my grandma didn't wake up? That's kind of crazy.
Oh.
What?
That would be so scary. Like, you'd just be, like, walking in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Get lost.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Story number 3, in parentheses, Robin will hate this one.
Oh, Lord.
I don't talk about this one much because it absolutely terrifies me. I used to have this big plastic doll that was dressed in this long gown and wore a pretty hat. It was a new doll, so it wasn't owned by anyone before us.
Okay. New doll.
Yeah.
Okay. Not nude doll.
Yeah. New. N-E-W. Things were a bit difficult growing up because we had a lot of financial and family issues, but while we had this doll, things seemed to be harder. One night, my mom and I had a similar dream involving the doll where the doll was taking over the house and we were all scared of it. Like there was more to it than we knew. After we discussed our dreams, my mother didn't waste a minute. She yeeted that doll out into the dump and we didn't think about it. We might have overreacted, but I'd rather that than a fucking doll haunting my family. I hope you're proud of us, Robin. I'll write more to you guys. I just need to have more flashbacks that remind me of the freaky things I've repressed from my past. Thank you, Spooky Mom, for all you do. Adam, could you please do the woo? There you go. Bye is the end of it.
Bye.
Thank you for sending it in. It was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. So I definitely
Dolls
identify
are creepy, just
with
in
that first
general.
one. I'm very happy the fact that your mom was like, nope, fuck this doll. Like, if you both had a creepy dream that was almost the exact same, then yeah, get rid of the damn doll.
Yeah.
So it's not like it was a family heirloom. It was new to you all.
They
so
could have
just
lived
get rid of
with
it.
some horror movie logic and left it.
Yeah, that would have been... What if you threw it away and it came back, though? That's the horror movie thing.
That's
where
some
you're
Annabelle
like,
shit.
That's when you burn the doll, so...
Yeah, but then it'll just come back. Haven't you watched...
No, fire is purifying.
Sinister?
Yeah, I guess.
He
Since that's a documentary.
He kept burning that shit, and it kept coming back.
That movie sucks. I'm just saying, I'm
You
not
suck.
a fan of
I just
Sinister.
watched it the other day again.
Why? It's so bad.
It is bad, but that's why it's a background movie.
I guess. Background, bad ground, whatever. So, one more time, thank you for sending that in.
So the final email of the night is titled Angry Former Occupant.
Interesting.
Very well labeled. I mean, super fancy words. Using occupant instead of like, I don't know.
I like that you're impressed with the word occupant. Let's see what other fancy words you could have in this
I don't
email.
know. Okay. So it goes. Hello, Robin and Adam. Hello.
Hello.
My daughter introduced me to your podcast a couple of weeks ago. Aw, cute. And I've been enjoying listening to them. Okay, I'll be honest. I have been binging them. Thank you. I have a couple of stories I would like to share with you, and you're welcome to share these if they are interesting enough. Story 1. I was living in a house with my then husband. It was an older home with one of those, sorry, Robin, dark, damp dirt shelf basements.
Nice.
Dirt shelf. Does that mean it's just like there's no ground in there? It's just...
I don't know.
I have always had my bedroom in one basement or another, so they normally don't bother me much, but this one felt horrible. Every time I had to go down, I would run back up as fast as I could, feeling like someone or something would grab me before I could make it to the top. That's
standard basement etiquette.
That's me in bathrooms.
Really?
Yeah.
You run out of bathrooms? Because you seem to stay in them for a very long time.
No, like if I'm at a restaurant or something and I'm by myself, I try to get out of the bathroom as fast as I can.
Okay.
Always.
I can confirm that.
Shortly after moving in, I began to notice that when I got home from work, even at school, dude, even at school, in the bathrooms at school, if there's no one in there and it's just me, I try to get out of there as fast as I can. It creeps me out. Okay, so shortly after moving in, I began to notice that when I got home from work, the house felt bad. I mean, you know that feeling you get when you walk into a room where someone is super pissed at you and you can feel that anger radiating from them? It felt like that all the time. I kept getting a sense of an angry man. Well, angry towards women. I also had an overpowering feeling that they had killed themselves. I tried to dismiss these feelings because, as I told myself, don't be crazy. No one can really feel this stuff. One day, I was alone in the house and getting ready to take a shower. I removed a watch I'd been wearing and put it on the back of the vanity. I stepped into the shower, pulled the shower curtain closed. About 5 minutes into the shower, I hear a loud crack of metal on tile. Like, what the hell? I open the shower curtain to see what made the noise. I see my watch lying in a heap against the opposite wall. So it's like it got chucked.
Right.
Oh my God.
Or backhanded really hard.
There was no way it could have fallen on its own, and definitely no logical way it could have landed against the opposite wall with such force. There was no one in the room, and the shower curtain was frosted clear, so I would have seen anyone if they'd come in. I wasn't scared as so much as I was angry. The jerk just broke my favorite watch. Anywho, about a month later, we attended our neighborhood block party. Dude, why don't we have block parties in our neighborhood?
Probably because it's quarantine right now.
Oh, yeah, duh. I didn't even think about that. We attended our neighborhood block party and had a good time getting to know people. I struck up a conversation with one of the neighbors, and when I told her where we lived, she got a funny look on her face and asked me how it was living in the house.
Oh, no.
And did I know that the last person that lived there had killed himself in the basement after a bad breakup with his girlfriend.
That sucks.
That's terrifying. Things kept happening, and we were stuck with months left on our lease. So I decided to have a quote-unquote discussion with the angry dude. Imagine a woman sitting alone in the middle of a room talking to the air. I addressed him, "Yo, dog."
That's awesome.
I let him know that I felt bad for what happened to him. I swore that I was a nice woman and I needed him to stop the angry shit he was doing because we were going to be stuck together for a while longer. For some reason, that seemed to work. The feel of the house lightened up, and I no longer found items broken or moved around. Mind you, once the lease was up, we were out of there. I would have gotten out of there too. Fuck. Story 2. My father-in-law lived with us after his partner of 20 years kicked him out. During this time, I found out that I was pregnant, and oh boy, was he excited to be a grandpa.
Aww,
that's fucking adorable. After my daughter was born, he spent a ton of time holding her, and often he would find them napping together with her sleeping on his chest. My daughter was only about 3 months old when her grandpa collapsed in the house and died from an abdominal aneurysm.
Oh, that's so sad.
I soon started to notice that when I took photos of my daughter, there would be an orb next to her. I thought, weird. So I would take a photo of the same spot with the same lighting without her in the pic, and guess what? You've got it. No orbs. I always try to be the logical person and have never laid much credence to orbs, so you can decide yourself what that was. Dust mote or grandpa? Even now, at random times throughout the years, I will catch a whiff of cigarette smoke. It must be noted that no one in our house or in our neighborhood smokes. However, her grandpa did. For the longest time, I assumed it was only me that smelled the smoke, and last week I say out loud to my now 15-year-old daughter, "Aw, that's cool.
Yeah.
I smell cigarettes," and she says she always smells it often and in different rooms of the house. I get shivers down my spine and tell her I have to show her something. I pull out one of the old photos with the orb and told her that when she
told her, "Look at this photograph."
Oh, God.
Every time I do, it makes me laugh.
That when she smells the smoke, her grandpa is stopping by to say hi and make sure she's doing well. It feels really comforting to both of us to feel that he is watching over her. Thanks for your podcast. It is so much fun listening to you two banter, tell the great stories, and entertain. Keep on creeping on, Perry. Thank you so much for sending those stories in. They're really good stories, and I really love the ones that are like relatives that come in to check on you, right, and to make sure you're okay, or to tell you that they're okay, and the fact that these photos with your daughter in them have orbs and stuff around them, I think that's really cool.
I agree. It's really nice when we get those stories that tell us about like a time where something sad happens, but it really doesn't focus on the sad details. It focuses on what happens afterwards and how you're able to feel comforted and feel like your family member is still there. And I think it's funny, too, because what smell would you like to be associated with your memories? You know what I mean? Because it's usually potent smells. And for a lot of folks, yeah, there you go. For a lot of folks that smoke, usually they're like, yeah, I smelled the cigar that smells like him when he was still here. In Robin's case, it'll be like stinky farts. And for me, I don't know what it's going to be. It's probably going to be like taco meat and aftershave, which is another reference to another Will Ferrell movie, which is Blades of Glory. So that's about all the Will Ferrell references I have. I think most of them wound up with the on the cutting room floor, though. So that's fun stuff. Thank you so much for sending that in, though. And if you have stories out there about relatives coming to visit you after they passed away, definitely share them with us. We want to hear them. Okay, so that is all the emails we have for this episode of Storytime. Thank you so much to everyone who sent us one. If you have a story you would like to share with us, please email storytime@scarish.com or go to our website, scarish.com, and click on Contact Us. You can also go to any of our social medias and message us there. Facebook is facebook.com/scarishpodcast. Instagram is @scarishpodcast, and Twitter is @scarishpod. We hope to hear from you. Robin, for folks who would like to donate to us, how can they do so?
You can go to patreon.com/scarishpodcast. Those are monthly donations. There's a whole bunch of different tiers you can check out. Right now, there is a discount till the end of the month if you become a patron for our Etsy shop. So head on over, check it out. Tiers start at $1. Can't hurt. And you can go to ko-fi.com/scarishpodcast. Those are one-time donations. All those donations go to helping us upgrade our studio setup. Oh, your hair smells so good.
Oh, thank you.
And
I was whipping my hair around back and forth, so.
And and also go to our Etsy shop. Check out the new pins that are available for pre-order. They are going to be in my hands soon, and I'll get them mailed out as soon as I can. So check those out. I'm really excited for them. Head on over.
Indeed. So that's everything we have for this episode of Storytime. Thank you so much to everyone who watched live and listened afterwards. We sincerely appreciate all of you. Robin, go ahead and sign us out.
Keep on creeping on, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.